episode is brought to you by Katie and I's lack of time to get together this month, and we needed a fun episode. Again, try to balance it out. I think it was Ladies and Tangents lately that was like, we try not to be horribly awful because we get it. We know that we're like miserable sometimes, and I'm just like, I hope we don't sound miserable on the internet. So, trying to throw a little bit more fun into the mix, because I always say, like, I feel like every episode I've said how busy we are. We are just some busy people.
We're busy people. We're hustling.
We're just trying a lot, yeah. Hi, welcome to the Music Lens Podcast with me, Alex Allegra.
And Katie Fee.
We don't have a lot of, like, hard, cold-hitting facts, but I have 2 songwriting books. It's been a while since we've done the songwriting portion of our songwriting series.
Yeah.
So I figured we could do some, like, review stuff. I wish I had, like, a brand new book that I was like, oh, I just read this, and I realized we haven't really done a whole lot of book reviews lately, like I think we were meaning to.
Yeah.
Mainly because Katie and I are reading the Crescent City series at the moment, and those are big books, and I've been reading a lot. My goal for this year was to read it was to read just like 20 books, and then I kept reading so much that I was like, oh, I already hit 20. So my goal this year was to read 50, and I'm at 41.
Okay. Mine's 20. My goal is 24, and I don't know where I'm at. Probably like 14 or 15. Okay. So I'm right on track.
I am 10 books ahead of schedule. On Goodreads, if you go to Goodreads, if you don't know what Goodreads is, it's a website where you basically rate and review books, and then they give you suggestions, and there's a lot of fun free giveaways on there too. Yeah. That's my biggest thing, is I go for the giveaways, and then I was like...
There's like lists too, so you can have like your want to read and what you've already read and stuff, and they have like reading challenges, so... That's
not sponsored, by the way, just a fun little thing.
That's where I mark my goal of 24, and it keeps track, and it tells you like how many books ahead or behind you are. So
like if you keep a consistent pace, this is how many books you can read, kind of a thing. Yeah. So my goal was 50, and I'm at 41.
I'm probably one behind at this point since I started start of August. But I'll probably end up reading some Frida McFadden books at the end of the year that will like get me to my goal, because they're such short, quick reads. Yeah. Compared to Crescent City being 800 pages.
S.J. Maas is like very, very big books, and
yeah. I don't think it's as slow as you said it is, like really? As far as like having to read slow, but. Or like
it just took me a while to get into it. Obviously.
Yeah, I don't think it really did for me. Okay. It's just a lot of pages, so that's the only reason it takes me so long.
I think what I like about S.J. Maas's books too is that it really is like a day by day. Like she takes every single detail, and like by the end of that book, you realize it's only been like 2 weeks, because the next book was like that all happened in a matter of 2 weeks, and you're like, excuse me, that was 2 weeks of your life. That felt like a whole month to me.
Yeah.
Mainly because I read it in a whole month. And I'm on the 3rd one right now, so I'm finishing that up. I did take a break to read a whole bunch of other books. And I will be taking a break in October, because as spooky season rolls around, I have some fun. One book is I already told you guys I found these 2 books. One is like a women empowerment book, and if it has anything to do with music, I will be sure to bring it in. Okay. B is there is like a murder true facts Nashville undercover of Music City, and I think it relates to music, so if that does, I think it'll be a fun like true crime music Halloween special.
Halloween thing. Yeah. And Alex is in another play, so we're gonna
it's only 1 month though,
but
and
we're
it's
gonna
a musical,
see what that does as far as plans, because I know we wanted to do like the Ryman Ghost tour and talk about that, so we'll see if we'll be able to still do that, hopefully.
Yeah, but it just depends on the day, I think, really. So yeah, because I have 2 days off a week.
Definitely, we're both spooky Halloween people, so
yes, but I think it is only appropriate to start after Labor Day, so
okay.
I like to take my time. Look, I am always like such a prepper and like a rush through life kind of person that sometimes I even need to stop myself, and holidays are one of those things where I'm like, this is the time to celebrate this, so that my mind doesn't drive myself absolutely crazy.
Yeah, I get like not wanting to get into it too early to the point that you're sick of it before the actual holiday comes, because that's kind of why I pace myself with Christmas, of waiting until after Thanksgiving most of the time. But then now I've kind of got it into like middle of November. I'll decorate just to have it up for like a full month worth.
That's fair. But this year we're celebrating Christmas here, so I can actually like go full out and decorate my whole house. And Aunt celebrates too with his little shirts.
Yeah. Christian posted on his story, I don't know, I make myself laugh, because he said something about like there's Halloween stuff in a store and it was July, and he commented on it being so early. I was like, okay, but then don't be posting Christmas stuff on November 1st. So, because it's like the same people that complain about Halloween and fall stuff being early are the ones who are the first to put up Christmas stuff immediately after Halloween.
It's really just like, are you a birthday is your whole, like the whole month is your birthday kind of person? Are you a Halloween person, or are you a Christmas person? Or maybe you just like to decorate in general and like you do it all out. But I just, again, it's more of just a mental reset for me, because I will drive myself crazy if I just went along. Like, I have to just be like, okay, this is the time for this.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's more just a mental thing for me.
I mean, pumpkin spice lattes are back. Mentally, I'm in fall. I saw some leaves just following you. Falling. Yeah, they're following me. No, they're like just falling in such a picturesque way, and it was so pretty, and I'm like, man, that's so nice, but it's 100 degrees outside.
Yeah.
So mentally I'm in fall, but I'm melting.
Well,
on the outside.
The other thing about living in Tennessee is that you really kind of lose those in-between seasons completely. So fall and spring really don't exist here.
Well, I mean, winter doesn't get that cold. So you do kind of get a fall, I think. But depending on the year, I guess, maybe.
At least it still snows here, though. So I feel like you do get an actual winter. Yeah.
It's been snowing more often, like in the past few years, than it used to, though. So, yeah. But people still shut down.
It's fine.
Anyways, all that to say, we both love Halloween, so we'll probably do stuff themed with that, but still music related for October. So
I guess that'll be so fun. Yeah.
Be on the lookout for that. Do some spooky music ghost things.
Other than that, we do. You know how ladies and no. Two Girls, One Ghost have a book club that's like all related to spooky stuff. This is like Alex and Katie's book club for music nerds.
Yes. Okay.
Okay. I've got two books here. One is called Writing for Better Lyrics by Pat Pattinson, and the other is called Chicken Soup for the Soul: Country Music. Inspirational stories behind 101 of your favorite country songs. So, stories a little bit here are, my mom got me this for Christmas because she just thought I was like in high school, and how do you get inspired by songwriting? You read about other songwriters. So she got me this. This we will play a fun game with.
Okay.
And pick random numbers and read the stories behind the songs. Or I'll read it really fast and then explain to you what is interesting about it.
Okay.
We'll see how fun that is. So this one is the one that is mainly our...
Ow!
I'm sorry. That is mainly our...
I got hit with the book.
Sorry. Mainly the topic for the day. So I read some of this book. I have not read the entire thing, but what I did read of it was very useful and inspirational. So I figured, this is a good book. I think it's recommended by a lot of people that are songwriters. That's like, get this book. And my brother was wondering, what's some good books that I can like learn how to songwrite with, because he got a guitar for Christmas and he wanted to learn to play. And I was like, let me find it. Well, this is the book. I don't think my brother watches this podcast though, but Austin, if you do, here's the book I was trying to find for you. It's called this.
It's called this.
It's called Writing Better Lyrics: The Essential Guide to Powerful Songwriting, second edition. So it is how to use sense-bound imagery to enhance a song's emotional impact on listeners, techniques for avoiding cliches and creating imaginative metaphors and similes, ways to use repetition as an asset, how to successfully manipulate meter, instruction for matching lyrics with music, ways to build on ideas and generate effective titles, advice for working with co-writers, and much, much more. That's what the back says. Just this bullet point part. I didn't read the...
Okay.
I didn't read the rest of it because it wasn't really anything other than this. So yes, it's basically just like a bunch of exercises. And it starts off with how to like get into a good rhythm of being a songwriter, because I think a lot of us think that songwriting is very much this grab, and I'm sure we've talked about it in our other songwriting series, that it's like this magical being that like comes into your mind and you like grab it and then you gotta release it and that's all. And if you have that gift so often, then you just become a songwriter and there it is. But it's not always that, and nor is it really how, it's like anything else. It's a muscle. It's using your creativity becomes like a muscle activity that you have to constantly work on and constantly build. And so essentially anybody can become a songwriter. I think we've said that before too.
Yeah.
But those that are like more creatively inclined definitely tend to have more of these like big bursts of inspirational moments. And I think I had one, and this is how I've always thought of it too. I had one teacher back when I did a summer camp that was like, it was like a thing of wind moving, and like the wind like hit you, and then like you have to like grab a hold of the wind and write it down as fast as possible, and it like flows through you, and if you don't catch it before it like leaves your body, like it's gone forever. That was how she described inspiration.
Creative.
But anywho, I think this reminds me too of what Devin Dawson said when he came to Belmont about how I don't know if we've ever told him coming to Belmont, but he came when his first album came out, and he went to Belmont. His wife did.
Yeah.
Yes, he did.
Yeah?
Yes, they met on campus.
Okay, yeah. Trying to remember things.
Yeah,
because I think I don't know, I feel like he made a comment about I think we were breaking fire code, or we were close to it or something, because we were standing on the stairs for that, because there's just no seats left, but they still let people in. But
he had come in and said he basically like got up, took a shower, wrote for like an hour, made coffee, and then went to class. Like it was an everyday thing. And the people that are really good at their craft and really take it as like a serious job, because I think a lot of people think that songwriting is not a serious profession, but it really is when you come down to it, because it does take a lot of mental stimulation and consistency. And the only way to create better songs, it's similar to a photographer or any athlete. Like the only way to get better is to fail and fail and fail and fail and write and write and write and write and hit the ball and hit the ball and hit the ball and hit the ball until it's just like second nature. But then there's always something that you can do better. Like, great, you can hit the ball, but like let's throw some curveballs in, or let's so basically this book starts off by saying that the first thing you should do is take 10 minutes every morning to just write down things. So like writing down just what a stream of consciousness for 10 minutes, because stream of conscious writing too is a big thing, because you'll start to learn to edit yourself like in that stream of consciousness. So writing down even the I don't know what I'm like, take 10 minutes. Even right now, pause the video. If you're in a safe spot, pause the video, write down a stream of consciousness for 10 minutes each day. Even my therapist has said to do something like that, just to express any emotions that I'm feeling. It's like a good exercise to do in like anything you're trying to do.
Right. I think you could do it on Finch.
Yeah. But specifically for writing and songwriting, just writing down a stream of consciousness, because that consciousness, when you're writing things like, I don't know what to say, but Katie has straight hair and blue eyes and a t-shirt on, and I have a poster of Where Words Fail, Music Speaks sitting behind me, and oh yeah, this happened, oh, and this connects to this and this connects to that, and then like all of a sudden maybe there's like a piece of inspiration for a song in there, or you're writing down your dreams, or people keep a lot of dream journals too as a songwriter, because dreams are so outlandish sometimes that it's great for inspiration. Although I had a dream last night that the end of the world was happening, so I don't know how much I'm getting inspiration out of that. But it was traumatic.
A song like that.
It was very traumatic.
Oh boy. Yeah.
Another, let me open it up. So, chapter 1 is on object writing and the art of the diver. Diver? Yeah, diver. So object writing, basically they go on to say, and I'm going to kind of summarize things here because you should buy the book and read it yourself.
Right.
And take the time to actually go through, because basically it explains what the chapters are about, and then it goes into exercise 1, and then they'll give you an example, and then they'll have you perform the exercise. So it's a really good starting out way to really like learn things. So basically object writing is you stare at literally anything and describe it in vivid detail. I think their example is of a back porch, and then they'll take like one sense memory that you have. So sense memory means you're using all 5 of your senses, and you'll think of how it smells, how it looks, how it feels, how it tastes, how it sounds.
Yeah.
So how it hears, how it sounds.
How it hears.
How it sounds. And you basically in vivid detail describing that for 10 minutes. You sit down, and it's just about writing freely. It's about taking every boundary off of yourself, because as a songwriter, we also get very into the world of, well, it has to be a metaphor and it has to do all of this stuff. And sometimes we stop ourselves and put roadblocks in our own way to be being creative, because we think it needs to perform a certain way. And that's why they say, even if it's the worst song ever, if you write a song a day,
You're still practicing.
Because you're like, okay, that sucked. Because over time, again, it's that muscle memory will start to just naturally progress and progress and progress. And when I was actively using this book to learn and I would read like a chapter a day and like start implementing something about it each day. Now it was tough for me to keep up because I was also in college, but also that's me being excusing myself, because everybody can do it. It really isn't. And it's something so simple. It's 10 minutes a day. And like I said, when I was actively using it, I saw an improvement in a couple months in just the way that, I was out of practice of writing, but I could jump back into a co-write and be like, I'm not starting at, oh my God, I don't even know what to say.
Yeah.
I was starting at a point where, okay, well, we could take that. That's a really cool idea. Let's run with that and start something at least. Or like, and then in a couple months, I was like, okay, I know how to incorporate some of like these techniques or these little like things for metaphor writing. And it was just really helpful and useful.
Yeah. And I think the way we write as independent artists who have other jobs to make money, like it's a little different as far as like scheduling goes, but for those writers that are signed to publishing deals, and mostly for like soul songwriters, maybe not so much like artist songwriters, but soul songwriters, they kind of have like laid out schedules, like almost like a 9-to-5 situation, where they'll do like a 10 to 2 and a 2 to 5 type writing style, and sometimes even like have an evening, right? But it's scheduled out so that way all these people can coordinate their schedules for writing. So having that muscle that you're able to use, and even if you're not feeling inspired, you're able to work that muscle and kind of get the juices flowing.
Right. And that's a big thing too, because a lot of times full songwriters, what a lot of people don't realize is publishing deals work where let's do a little publishing lesson here.
Okay.
Publishing deals work where you are given an X amount of money to write. But you have to recoup said money by the end of your term. So how do you recoup it? You schedule rights, by those songs, make X amount of royalties. You have to be getting those cuts. You have to be getting cuts
to get that money to recuperate the money that you made for your advancement.
Correct. But that's only like 1 or 2 of your songs potentially. So how do you show that you're actually like, sorry, I have hair on my nose. How do you show that you're actually performing well, and to potentially even get that cut, because the likelihood that it's your first song is very not likely. You have to build your way up even once you step your foot into that publishing world. You have to build your way up with songwriters and get rapport with people, and that person then wants to write with you, and after that person, and start to build up your own sense of self in the artist community as well.
And you're also required to, like, usually deals will have a certain number of songs
That's
per
what I was
year.
gonna say, Cutie.
Okay.
Me off. No. That was what I was gonna say. Is how do you show that you have to have like
whatever
you
your deal,
quotas.
it will lay out in your contract, like songwriter name agrees to turn in X amount of songs within the contract period, and it something about like quality work or whatever.
Yeah.
It can't be just whatever. You have to actually try and write songs that are quality,
right?
To turn in. So
a basic songwriter, like first time straight out of Belmont, gets a publishing deal, whatever. Yeah. I don't know why I said Belmont, but comes in town, gets a publishing deal. They're required to get 50 quality songs turned in and submitted to their publisher. How do you know that they're quality and good songs and all this stuff? Your publisher will say yes, no.
Right.
They'll say, I like this, but you probably need to go back and rewrite that part. And so that's where, again, your muscle of like constantly working also starts to come into play. And these songwriters probably have like 2 to 3 writes a day.
Yeah.
For 365 days. Well, you're probably working
Monday
like
through Fridays, probably, unless you go like sometimes writers will go on tour with an artist and write on the bus, or like and
retreats.
Stuff,
but again, you have to be of a certain caliber with another like artist or something like that to be working in a different kind of environment. But your publisher is the one that schedules all these deals or schedules all your co-writes and that kind of stuff to make the connections towards higher up people, so that you're actually starting to make some royalties and money off of those songs.
Yeah.
And we've talked about royalties and how that all works in previous stuff. So while you don't necessarily need a number one song, you do need like a couple things that are making good, decent money and maybe a number one cut. But again, number one cuts are normally what got you stuff in the first place, because the whole business is run by numbers games, as we've always talked about.
Lovely.
So all of that to say that songwriting, you're probably writing like 2 or 3 times a day, which was my main point of that. So how do you not get burnout? How do you not, again, Katie said, how do you walk into a room when you don't feel like you want to write and you just had 2 other writes that day and you just like because also you might just be meeting this person for the first time. So there's also that divide of like, oh, now I have to spill my whole life story to this person again. And I don't really want to do that. I want to go home to cuddle with my dog tonight, but you don't get to do that. So, because life is life, not in a bad way, but like that's how life goes. So, how do you
a purely hypothetical situation?
Or how do you walk into a really important write after you've done a 2-day write or like 2 writes that didn't go well and like you're so drained and like you don't feel like you have anything? Well, you need to figure out how you're going to pull yourself up here. And normally that comes from the fact that you have this memory and this muscle really worked and really into a strong rhythm of, without a doubt that you can get something going on a paper into a track.
Right.
You can at least start bouncing ideas off of somebody to maybe spark something, so that you don't lose what you worked so hard for in the first place, So it's the same thing as getting up and going to the gym in the morning. It's the same thing as, if you want to do it, if you want to stay fit and be X, Y, and Z about yourself, then you put the time and the work into doing that. And that's the same goes for songwriters. So now for fun game time, I don't know how you want to play this game, Katie, but there's 101 stories.
On the table of contents, it's just like numbers. Yes. Are they like 1 page long?
Yeah, mostly.
For the most part. Okay, so what is the range of numbers? So basically, I think
there's
maybe
101.
We just pick numbers.
Yes. So pick from 1
to
101.
All right. 101.
Okay. Thank you, Katie. 99, 100. 101 is called You've Got to Stand for Something by, do you know who this is recorded by? For Something by Aaron Tippin.
It's Aaron Tippin, okay.
Yes.
Isn't it? They're like a longer name of like, you've got to stand for something or you fall for everything or something like that.
It does not say that.
Okay. I don't know.
But
Maybe
the
it's a different
chorus
song.
said, he said, you've got to stand for something or you'll fall for anything.
Okay, then yeah.
Okay.
I feel like I've heard the title, but not the song.
Gotcha. Okay. These are like some older-esque
Or the hook.
country songs. And so that's why I'm asking Katie if she knows them. Because sometimes I don't. So.
Yeah.
He says, I have to give my co-writer Buddy Brock credit on this one. That's his name, Buddy Brock.
Okay.
Yeah. It was written by Buddy Brock and Aaron Tippin. The initial idea was his. He had just moved to Nashville and was writing for A Cuff Rose Music. I was trying to get Buddy to come to Nashville from South Carolina, where we were from, and be a part of it, but he wasn't quite ready to make that jump. I was recently divorced, so I would go back there and have my daughter every other weekend. She was about the same age as Buddy's daughter, so the two of them would play while we wrote songs. One time, Buddy said, I've got this idea for a song. My dad used to always say, you've got to stand for something or you'll fall for anything, and I think that would be a great title. I told him my dad used to say the same thing, and we got to talking about how much they were alike. So it seems like the song's basically about him being a boy and would get in trouble, and his dad bailed him out. So they just started talking about their dads, and then the song came to be.
Cool.
So verse and chorus is now daddy didn't like trouble, but if it came along, everyone that knew him knew which side he'd be on. He never was a hero on this country shining light, but you could always find him standing up for what he thought was right. He said, you got to stand for something or you'll fall for anything. You've got to be your own man, not a puppet on a string. Never compromise what's right and uphold your family name. You've got to stand for something or you'll fall for anything.
My brain went to Hamilton.
Why?
If you stand for nothing, Burr, what will you fall for?
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. 33.
33. I can tell you what song it is. How Do You Get That Lonely? Story by Roy Feek.
I don't... wait, is that the... There's a duo and one of them passed away from cancer or something. So I wonder if it's them.
No,
this
it's was not. Recorded by Blaine Larson.
I don't know who that one
Okay.
is. Do we do it anyways? Shouldn't we stick to ones that are more well known?
This one's also pretty long.
All right, new number.
Okay.
14. Nope.
Desperados Waiting for a Train by Guy Clark.
Okay, that's like a very classic one. Then I don't know it, but I've heard of Guy Clark. So
okay, it was recorded by Guy Clark, Jerry Jeff Walker, the Highwaymen, who consisted of Waylon Jennings, Willie Nelson, Chris Christopherson, and Johnny Cash, if you didn't know. Okay, so this one's a small one.
Okay.
So Desperados Waiting for a Train.
Yeehaw.
Yeehaw. I was born in a the story is by Guy Clark. So one of the writers, and he was the only one that wrote it actually. So
nice.
I was born in a small West Texas town called Monahans, where my grandmother ran a hotel. There was a fellow who stayed at her hotel who was almost like a grandfather to me, except that he was my grandmother's boyfriend. When he died, I wrote Desperados Waiting for a Train. He was a wild catter and worked in the oil fields in West Texas. He drilled the first oil wells in South America and the Middle East back in the 1920s. All those things in the song happened. It's as accurate as I can remember it, nearly word for word. I used to play songs for him. I would tag along with him while I was little. As I got older, I would go along with him to a little barn in town where old guys would play cards. Sometimes he'd give me money and he taught me how to drive. I'd drive his car sometimes if he got too drunk. He was just a crusty old bachelor who lived life on his own terms. Desperados was one of those songs that I knew I had to write. Jerry Jeff Walker was the first one to record it. I later recorded it in 1975, and then Willie and Waylon and Chris and Johnny put it on the Highwaymen album. It's been covered by a lot of people. Believe it or not, one of my favorite recordings was by Slim Slim Pickens, the old cowboy actor. He read it in a poem over the music track. That's probably my favorite version of any song of mine that's been recorded. So apparently this whole song is word for word. It's not really in a traditional format. It's very all verses. It's a bunch of verses. So it looks very storytelling kind of song. So I'll read the first verses.
Okay.
I played the Red River Valley. He'd sit out in the kitchen and cry, run his fingers through 70 years of living, and wonder, Lord, has every well I've drilled gone dry? We were friends, me and this old man, like desperados waiting for a train. Desperados waiting for a train. And then it looks like
so it's like the
refrain
verses,
is
but
the
then
desperados
refrain,
waiting for a train. At the end of each verse. So.
Yeah.
Very interesting kind of song. We'll do one more.
Oh, we're only doing 3.
We can do, well, we only did 2 technically.
Yeah. So this would be, if we did one more, that'd be 3.
Okay, we'll do 4.
Okay. 71.
Watch you just pick all the ones you don't know, because there's a bunch in here that we both know.
Oh, no, that's 72.
Can we do it instead?
Let's do.
Okay, we're doing 72.
We'll do 72.
Okay. It is Strawberry Wine, who made famous by Dina Carter. The story is by how do you say her name?
I think it's Matricia. I've never heard her name said out loud, but that's.
She's also one of the songwriters in Gary Harrison. Matricia Berg.
Sure.
We'll say that. Sure. Okay. Anyways.
Also,
story, so.
I don't think she listens, but it's Hallie Kearns and not Haley Kearns, because I just saw a TikTok of her saying her name. I'm like, oh man, we've been calling her Haley.
I think we said Hallie.
I thought we said Haley.
Oh, I don't know.
If we said Haley, I'm sorry. It's Hallie.
Okay. This song came from spending summers at my grandpa's farm in Wisconsin. I have an aunt that is close to my age in Wisconsin, and we used to hang out together. That's where I met this fellow. I didn't actually meet him on my grandmother's farm, but it sounded good in the song. This is a song about first love. There is something about the summertime and being away from home in a completely foreign environment, which it was. It was very rural there. There is something so innocent about the way people pass their time there. There was a place called the Gravel Pit where all the kids used to hang out because there were no movie theaters. There was nothing to do. We used to sneak out through the cornfields to get to his car if we wanted to go out, and then we would go to the Gravel Pit. Everything else in the song was completely true. We had actually drank Boone's Farm Strawberry Hill wine. It was awful. Oh. The farm was sold as my grandparents got older. Their kids didn't really want to farm. It's just too hard to make a living farming these days. It was really sad because I felt like I couldn't go back there and revisit any of those memories. That was what the song was about. There is an innocence lost when you are a young girl and fall in love for the first time, but there is also an innocence lost about the way that life that will never be again, at least in our family. Everybody went off to college, and that was that. I think I was longing for that farm in those times as much as I was lost love. Did that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. When the song became a hit, it was a pretty big deal in Luck, Wisconsin, to have a hit song about the area. My aunt still lives there. She is a nurse, not a farmer. Mm-hmm. She actually built a house on some of my grandfather's hunting property. The boy moved away, but I think his parents still live there. My publishing company had a little guitar pool and invited record labels and producers and artists to come and listen to our new song. There were Kim Carnes, Jim Fotogalo, Tim Mency, and me, and some other writers. We set up a tent, and Dina Carter was the only artist who showed up, so she heard the song first. She had already made her a record and kept the song in the back of her mind. It made the rounds to several other female artists. They all passed, including Trisha Yearwood and Pam Tillis. Yeah. It just wasn't right for them. So it was still waiting for her when it came time to her second album. It was CMA Song of the Year in 1997 and nominated for a Grammy. And if you don't know the song Strawberry Wine, which I'm sure I know it, so I'm sure like you know it.
People know it, yeah.
He was working through college on my grandma's farm. I was thirsty for knowledge, and he had a car. I was caught somewhere between a woman and a child. One restless summer, we found love growing wild. On the banks of the river on a well-beaten path, it's funny how those memories last. Like strawberry wine, 17, that hot July saw everything.
Hot July
My moon saw everything. My first taste of love, oh bittersweet, green on the vine like strawberry wine.
Yes.
I hope we're not getting in trouble for reading this book word for word.
I don't think we would, right?
Clearly,
I
I've
feel
tried
like-
to read it
okay,
word for word.
okay.
Look, I have a little receipt in here because I tried to read it word for word.
Reference back to when we were talking about fair use a little bit last week. I think it's fair use in that you can use fair use if you're like doing commentary on like songs and stuff.
We are also not doing this whole book because we're trying to give credit to everyone in here. Go read it if you're interested in this kind of stuff, and we're using it as
just fun
interesting
little
tidbits.
snippets. Yeah.
One more, Katie.
One more.
Also, if you don't know Chicken Soup for the Soul, it's like a grandma's good timey kind of feel books. Like a lot of things have been written like this, so they're stories to make you feel good. So hopefully we make you feel good.
Hopefully we make you feel good. 88.
88. Okay.
We'll see.
Oh wait.
Well, we do the same thing as
87 is Thunder. Oh, you're like 88. That's fine.
What is 88?
This one's for the girls.
Oh, okay.
By Martina McBride. The story is by Hilary Lindsay. It was written by Hilary Lindsay, Amy Mayo, and Chris Lindsay. Is that her husband?
I don't know.
Okay. Anyways. Okay. This one's for all you girls about 17.
Okay.
I do like the song. Also, speaking of, we just saw Martina McBride, and we have an episode on our experience.
Yeah, we talked about. Yeah, we have an episode talking about seeing her speak. So,
so go check that one out.
I don't remember which episode, so you're gonna have to look for yourself.
It's very clearly labeled.
Is it?
I think. Is it? What did we talk about in that episode?
That's what I'm saying. I don't remember what else was in there because I think that was just like a beginning part. It might have been CMD Awards or something, actually.
Oh,
maybe.
okay.
We'll see. I don't know. You can find it and let us know.
Watch everything and then let us know.
And then comment on this video and be like, hey, it's this episode. Thanks. Awesome.
So, when Amy and Chris and I first sat down to write, this one's for the girls, we were thinking of writing something that would be an inspiration only for younger girls. Then the more we started talking about it, the more we decided to touch on every generation. The line that talks about living on dreams and SpaghettiOs, wondering where your life is going to go. That was me at that same age, living in an apartment and living on SpaghettiOs. I still occasionally eat them because I love them.
They're good.
Is Hilary Lindsay also the one from Boston?
I don't know where she's from.
Okay, never mind.
She's one of the Love Junkies, though, right?
Is that like
Hillary? It's Liz Rose, Hillary, and it starts with an L, right? Who wrote Humble and Kind?
I know who you're talking about. I know all of them, but I can't think of it.
It's gonna bother
Is Nicole
me.
also part of that? Or
No.
Okay,
Nicole
it's just three
Galleon's
of them.
a different. Not in Love Junkies. Lori McKenna.
Lori McKenna, I guess.
I'm like,
Thank
it's
you.
L name.
It's Lori. That's from Boston, I think, because she lives
Okay.
there still. I think.
Does she? Okay.
Well, whoever was the Boston one, they go up and write with her all the time. Maybe it's, I don't remember. Anyways, we'll cut this part out. Anyways, okay, so this one's for the girls. Living off SpaghettiOs. I still occasionally eat them. Honestly,
Yum.
you want to know something really weird? Is that I used to eat SpaghettiOs every time I would watch that episode of Hannah Montana when they did the crossover with Corey in the house, and the dog, she has to like eat the dog food, and I always thought it looked like SpaghettiOs, so I would eat SpaghettiOs with her.
Why would you but then that's like you're eating the dog food.
But it was yummy because it was SpaghettiOs.
I know.
So I just like to imagine she was eating SpaghettiOs. So I was like, oh, we can eat SpaghettiOs together. I don't know.
Okay.
I was a child. Leave me alone. Okay. I was living in a really creepy apartment near Music Row, which is fair. It was very convenient, but it was roach infested and everything. So that part was pretty autobiographical. What?
I don't doubt that.
Yeah, we've had a couple of roach experiences in our Nashville apartments. I think when we wrote the line about every laugh line on your face, we were probably thinking of our moms, but also being at that age where we are starting to develop our own little laugh lines or crow's feet. When we wrote the lines about high school being so rough and mean and holding on to your innocence as long as you can, both Amy and I felt this way when we were teenagers, maybe not feeling like you were part of the in crowd. I don't know how Chris felt being a man and all. He probably felt the same way. There's just so much facing young women today, from peer pressure to bullying to navigating feedback from the media. So we were just trying to write a positive song that they can listen to and feel encouraged by. We want girls to feel comfortable being who they are, being comfortable in their own skin, and not trying to be someone they're not. It's kind of addressing us girls too, because heaven knows we're usually our worst critics. We can be pretty hard on ourselves and sometimes hard on each other too. So this song was just meant to be an encouragement to girls of all ages to be themselves. And if you know about the song, it goes from this one's for the girls about 13.
I have
and
a
then
complaint
what?
on the first two lyrics.
Okay, hold on. Then the second verse goes into this one's for all you girls about 25. And then the last one is this one's for all you girls about 42. So, and then the end of the chorus is from 1 to 99. That's, I think, the bridge. They just didn't label it.
Were you in high school when you were 13?
Nope.
Middle school.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, that's my only complaint.
That's fair.
And
So
I
the first two
was
lines
older too.
This is for all you girls about 13. High school can be so rough, can be so mean.
Yeah, because I was held back a year of like starting kindergarten just because summer birthday. My mom wanted me to be one of the older kids versus like one of the youngest, I guess. So
fair.
even being like one of the older kids, I'm like, no, I wasn't like, yeah, I don't know.
No, you're 14 turning 15.
Yeah, because I graduated when I was 18.
So you would have already
I
been
was
15.
Yeah, so it'd be 14, yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's my technicality
Because
where
you're
I'm like,
16
you're
when
not
you're in
high
sophomore
school.
year and you get your license. So.
Yeah. I'm like, you're not in high school at 13, but I get the
But
point.
13 is a rough age in
I get the
general.
point.
So middle school's also rough.
Should have said like 14, but it's fine.
Well, they could have said 15 and it still would have.
Yeah.
Because it's just the teen part. They could have said any number and it would have made sense still.
Not 13.
Well, yeah.
Sorry.
Fair enough, Katie. Fair enough.
Just
okay.
Re-record
She was
it.
trying to be positive.
Re-record it with a different age.
Okay. I think that's everything for our little episodes this week.
Yeah.
It's actually pretty long, and I didn't even mean for it to be. I thought this would be... I apparently got on my soapbox a little bit, but that's okay.
Well, if you have, I don't know, have a fun
Songwriting
background
experiences.
story to your songs, or you've heard a fun background story to a well-known song, like, let us know. That'd be cool. You can send it to the Music Lens Podcast at gmail.com, along with any other things you want to share with us. You can follow us at the Music Lens Podcast on all the socials, and then you can follow Alex at Alex Lager Music on all the socials, and me at KDV Music on all the socials. And we will see you next week.
Bye.
Bye.